Hi, have you ever noticed that you never have any good ideas until you're too busy to actually do them? That didn't really have anything to do with what I wanted to talk about today, but, it's pretty annoying. Anyway, my name is Davey, and this is me on air.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
So, you just ended a relationship and you're sad about it because you couldn't just have one of those nice breakups when the two of you would just decide that being friends is better. No, you've got to have one of those complicated breakups, and your mind is currently being torn apart between the urge to rewind to last week to, when everything was okay, and wishing that the earth would just swallow you up and you would just die. There, Uncle Davey is here for you. So let's start with the basics. You know what I said earlier about all this being complicated? It really isn't. You're not seeing the forest through the big scary trees. What you need to do first is to get yourself a bird's eye view, look at your life, figure out the big picture, and see your relationship for what it is. Deep breaths. Good? Good. The thing about relationships is that no matter whose fault it is, sometimes they just aren't meant to last. If you weren't into each other enough to stick together because of a little distance, or because of money, or jealousy, or because your families are mortal enemies, or because he's a vampire and you live in Washington, then maybe you're better off finding somebody else. I mean, seriously. Not, of course, that it's all that easy to let go. I mean, you will need time to mourn through the relationship that was. Take that image that you had of him and of yourself, and you guys together, and bury it. I mean, literally, you will need to go through the stages of grief, Anger, lust, pride, greed, envy, sloth, gluttony. Wait, no. The Kubler-Ross model. Denial, which can be anything from actively trying to forget to looking for proof that it didn't happen. Anger, passive-aggressive or otherwise. Bargaining, like trying to get back together or saying that you're okay with a breakup and then going back and trying to hook up again. Depression, which can last a long time depending on how hard you felt and how willing you are to let go. And finally, acceptance. Not, of course, that this all has to happen in that exact order, but you should at least expect all of them to happen one way or another. The other way to think about it, of course, is that you're a drug addict and you need to stop. When you're with the person you're in love with, or even just thinking about him, it triggers a cocktail of chemicals like norepinephrine and endorphins and oxytocin. In the simplest of terms, they make you feel fucking good. And the problem is that just because you've ended the relationship doesn't mean your body gives a fuck. So those stages of grief are just your body's way of overcoming withdrawal and learning to exist without love. Which, by the way, is exactly what your mind should be doing as well. To that end, there are some things you will need to remember. Do not rush into your next relationship. Give yourself time to get over your last guy. You don't want to bring the baggage over from your old relationship and ruin your new one. Don't do anything that you will be disgusted with when you've got a clearer head. You know how annoying those desperate bitches can be, and just because your heart is broken does not mean that you've got an excuse to be one. Do not give in to jealousy. So maybe he's moving on faster than you, and he's with some hot bimbo or whatever. So what's that got to do with you? Work on yourself for a little while. Do not play the blame game. It doesn't matter who screwed up. You don't have to deal with him anymore. He's gone. So just focus on yourself and what you will do better next time. But don't beat yourself up. Just because you've failed one relationship doesn't mean you've failed at life. All it means is that you've got a few things to learn before your next time comes along. Do remember that there can always be a next time. You deserve to be loved. It's not a matter of worth or being good enough. It's about finding someone who's your match. Do let it out. Talk about it. Express yourself. I do not mean vague posts on Facebook hoping he'll notice and feel bad. I mean, gather your BFFs, have some ice cream, and have a good cry about it. Turn your feelings into songs or poetry or painting. Use all your energy and throw it into your workout routines. Though, don't overdo that. Not only will it help you unleash all those pent-up emotions, it also gives you an opportunity to see yourself from a different angle. Which goes back to that bird's eye view thing that I was talking about earlier. Because really, it's all just ripples in the water. not the cause, but a reaction prompted by your need to return to balance. And the most important thing, the only thing you really need to worry about, is that when the waves die down, you come out cleaner. That you have a better idea of who you are and what kind of relationship you truly want to be in. You know, in the final season of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, I think it's the second to last episode, she has this conversation with Angel about why they can't be together. "I'm cookie though," she says. "I'm not done baking." I think that's just how relationships work, you know. If one person is incomplete, if he still has some growing up to do, then the other person has to spend all this effort trying to fill in all the gaps. And a good relationship needs two whole people who know themselves, love themselves even, and are both ready to be loved, not because they're desperate for it, but because they're ready to take what they deserve. So take this as a challenge. Before you go into your next relationship, give yourself time to learn and grow into your full potential. And someday you'll find someone who's just as awesome as you are. That's all for me today. I do want to know, though, what are some of the things that you guys have done to help yourselves feel better after a breakup? Or a hypothetical breakup for those of you still waiting for your first relationship. Hey, Eric. Right there in the comments, please. Also, thumbs up. You know you want to. And thanks for watching Davey on Air.